We're back with our MLB Best Bets here for Game 2 of the National League Divisional Series between two series, obviously, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with the Phillies hosting the Dodgers for Game number 2, and obviously the Brewers hosting the Cubs in that NL Central matchup. Obviously, Dodgers win Game 1 in Philly, Brewers win Game 1 in Milwaukee. Here we go, huge Game number 2 before the series go to both Los Angeles and Chicago, Illinois. Folks, before we get into the video, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel. Again, continuing this throughout the entirety of the postseason. Tomorrow, again, we'll be back with the American League. Wednesday, of course, we have all 4 games. We have, obviously, both American League games and the National League games. And now that we are, unless the Yankees get eliminated, actually. So, more on that tomorrow. I think the Yankees probably win tomorrow, but we shall see. Again, huge games today, folks. Later on today on the channel, we're going to have our college football predictions, so you're not going to miss that. I haven't recorded it yet. I think it's going to be about 5 hours. Maybe less. It's going to be the longest video ever created on my channel, though. Yeah, make sure to join us for that today at 4 o'clock. Also on the channel, again, Greedo Plays MMA, our UFC Rio predictions. Charles do Bronx Oliveira taking on Mateus Gamrot in the main event from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Okay, so like we said yesterday, only 4 best bets on days like this. When we get to Wednesday, regardless actually if the Yankees are still playing on Wednesday, we'll do 5 best bets because there'll be at least 3 games. Here, I gotta do only 4 just because I want to keep it to 2 bets per game. And at the end of the video, I'll talk about a little bit what we saw in the American League yesterday. Again, we went 2-2. We had both the under hit and the NRFI hit. The predictions of the games didn't go our way. So let's start first with the NRFI. Let's get on the board early, all right? Let's get on the board early. Let's get on the board quickly today from Philadelphia. And let's take the NRFI between the Dodgers and the Phillies. Blake Snell versus Jesus Luzardo is the pitching matchup. I don't see a run being scored in the first inning. I just don't think so. Guys, Blake Snell has been excellent. He just has. Gave up 2 runs against the Cincinnati Reds in Game 1. Gave up 2 runs late in his start. Not concerned about that. Blake Snell has been very good for the Philadelphia Phillies after, let's just say what it is, a bad start that he had against the Pittsburgh Pirates early in the month of September. Since then, he's been lights out, and he's looked like one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. Oh, by the way, Blake Snell's last start against the Phils, 7 innings, 2 hits, and 0 runs with 12 strikeouts. Oh. Yikes. Jesus Luzardo is pitching for the Phillies tonight. He's been good this season. 3.92 ERA, 3.21 ERA in the month of September. Last start, though, against the Miami Marlins, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. I do want to take you back to his only start this season, obviously, against the Dodgers at the bank in Philadelphia. 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs. A dominant outing for Luzardo in a game where he didn't get much run support. His team still won the game. He got his second ever Phillies victory against 7 shutout innings and 8 Ks against the Dodgers. Expect a pitcher's duel, and somebody's lineup today is going to have to come through. And we'll get into that, obviously, when I pick a money line winner in a second, but someone's lineup is going to have to win them the game. We'll get to that later, but I believe in this spot for the NRFI, I think it's going to hit. I don't think Snell's giving up a run early. For as much as I want to say Bryce Harper is going to take Snell yard, Kyle Schwarber is going to do something, Trey Turner's going to do something, guys, all 3 of those guys are Harper and Schwarber bat under 200 against Blake Snell, and Trey Turner's like a 230 hitter against Blake Snell. Now, I'm waiting for the Phillies to have a big moment in this playoffs. I get it's been 1 game, and it's a game yesterday, or on Saturday at least, that they should have won. A really bad loss for Philadelphia. They need to have a moment here. You need to have a moment. You need some sort of breakthrough. I mean, hell, you need a Vladimir Guerrero-esque performance today out of a Schwarber, out of a Harper. Which one of them is it going to be? I don't know. I don't think it happens in the first inning, though. I think if I'm throwing anybody against either the Phillies or the Dodgers, I'm throwing a lefty. I mean, these are the 2 perfect type pitchers you want going. I want Blake Snell early, at least early in the game. That's what I want. I want Snell and Schwarber. Again, I know Schwarber can take anybody yard. I know Bryce Harper can hit well against anybody, but at least the historical data and just previous matchups have shown us that, yeah, Blake Snell is the better of those 2 guys. Jesus Luzardo against the Dodgers. Okay, well, his last start against the Dodgers wasn't great. It was the same matchup. Again, it was Snell and Luzardo going on Wednesday, September 17th. Dodgers won the game 5-0 in LA after the Phils had won the first 2 games of that series. Luzardo in that game against the Dodgers goes 7 innings, 6 hits, and 4 runs. Again, though, look at what he did last time he faced off against this team in Philly. He dominated. And, right, I look at the top of their lineup, right, Teo's in the 3 now. It is what it is. They've bumped Freddie to the 4. I'd expect Freddie to stay in the 4, at least, again, with the lefties going for Philadelphia. We can expect Ranger Suarez to likely pitch Game 3, and then Aaron Nola nightmare scenario in Game 4. I mean, if you're Philly, this is a must-win, and I'll get to that in a second, because of what's down the line here, and I will give you shades of the Mariners in a second. But I gotta go with the nerf here. I think Luzardo's gonna be fine. Ohtani, obviously a great bat and should be better when he's not pitching. But look at his first at-bat last game against Christopher Sanchez. 3 straight pitches, 3 straight strikes, obviously a strikeout. Now, again, I know Ohtani doesn't have to deal with the back of his mind saying, okay, you gotta get into pitch mode in a second, but I think Luzardo was able to get him early. Mookie, I'm not that scared of Mookie yet. Not. Maybe, again, that comes back to bite me in the ass. And then Teo, I think he's used up all of his magic already. Kike Hernandez, though, unfortunately has an unlimited amount of magic, and I don't understand. He's not a good player, but somehow in the postseason, he's just that guy. I don't understand. Nerfy today, though, from Philadelphia, minus 140. Blake Snell and Jesus Luzardo come through. This should be a good start to the game. As we carry on with the same exact game, I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. It is the Mariners scenario from yesterday. And guys, I was wrong. The under hit. It was under 6.5. There were 5 runs scored. Thanks, Kyle Finnegan. But there were 5 runs scored yesterday in that Tigers versus Mariners game. But we thought it's over for Seattle. Backs up against the wall. Tarek Skubal's going. Castillo, he's been all right. Again, we can make the same comp, guys. Is Blake Snell right now as good as Tarek Skubal is? No. But he's kind of like, again, when Snell's at that, like when he's on, he can be kind of at that level. Okay. Luzardo, I can kind of comp him a little bit to Luis Castillo, even though Luzardo's been a little bit better this season, but they both are good pitchers, not ace-level guys, though. Again, very good pitchers, not cream of the crop. That's fine. Same exact scenario as yesterday, though. I mean, Mariners look like they're done going into that game. You're down 1-0. You had to use the bullpen a lot in game number 1. You go into a game 2, and the second best pitcher in baseball is on the bump. A guy that you, again, if you can somehow extend the series to 5 games, you're going to have to see him yet again. Anyways, Seattle goes up 2-0. Torkelson has a big hit down the line in right field to tie the game in the 8th inning. And ultimately, right, Kyle Finnegan comes out in the bottom of the 8th, the spot where A.J. Hinch did not want to use his all-star. Finnegan gets burned and by Raleigh and Julio back-to-back doubles. Mariners ultimately win the baseball game. Okay. I'm not saying, the same thing's going to happen and in comes, Roki Sasaki and back-to-back doubles from, Schwarber and Harper are going to win the game for the Phillies. I'm not going to say all that. But what I am going to say is Seattle's back was completely pushed against the wall yesterday. I mean, that was the nightmare scenario for them. We were talking about it yesterday, how I said, okay, I think we're going to get to a game 5 because I think Seattle's going to win both in Detroit. But now I'm concerned, how do they even win it? Guys, I'm back on now. I believe the Mariners are going to win the series, and I believe they're still going to win the American League now because I think they're going to win both in Detroit, not to see Skubal again. But that's what I was concerned about because I just didn't know how they're going to beat Skubal twice. Or I didn't know they're going to beat him once, and they did. They proved me wrong. So now I think as they go into Detroit, I think they're going to win both those games, and I don't think the series is going to see Seattle again. That's neither here or there. Different circumstance with the Phillies, but like I was saying earlier when I was talking about the nerfy, okay, let's picture this though. Let's just think about this. Philly loses tonight. You're down 2-0. You're down 2-0. Yeah, you get Ranger for game 3. You probably can take game 3. It's Yamamoto going for the Dodgers. I mean, it's just they have a super team. You can't beat these guys. But you still get Ranger going. I would feel somewhat confident in you winning that game 3. Okay. The problem is game 4. The problem is game 4 with an Aaron Nola / Walker Buehler assignment. How do you go beat the Dodgers on the road then? That's the thing. Game 5, Sanchez back on a Saturday. Okay, Saturday night. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But it is legitimately a problem. What do you do in game 4? So if you're the Phils, you've got to win this game. You have to win. And then you got to get game 3 too to just ensure, okay, we're just going to kind of throw Nola out here and hope for the best. Hope for a prime Aaron Nola in game 4. And then we get our guy for game 5 with Christopher Sanchez. Same exact matchup as game number 1. Here comes Shohei Ohtani. Hopefully, again, that was a very close game where the Phils could have gotten it. They were right there. It's a game that they can win again, The Phils are not that far from Los Angeles, in my opinion. They're really not. I mean, these teams are right there. Again, I've said it. This is the biggest series of the playoffs because whoever wins this is probably going to win the World Series. These are the 2 best teams, and they're playing each other in the second round. Because Milwaukee obviously just had their magic in the regular season. And good on the Brewers, right? Great on the Brewers. And we'll talk about them in a second, but they, instead of having to play the Dodgers, they get the Chicago Cubs, who are a good team. Are they a great team? Don't know if I can say that. They're a good team. They're a good team. Are they great? Great's a strong word. I think Philadelphia wins. Guys, when you look at that game one, they had it won. They were up 3-0 in the sixth inning. And ultimately, that Dodgers voodoo magic comes in. You know, Kike Hernandez, who just whatever, doubles down the line, and then Teo hits a bomb. And like last year, the Phillies bullpen comes back to bite them in the ass. I mean, I did wonder, you said Ranger was available for game number 1 out of the bullpen, and you don't go to him? I mean, I get it. It wouldn't really make that much sense to, at the time, oh, let's pitch Ranger Suarez against Kike Hernandez, but you had runners on first and second, 2 outs. I mean, you got to get out the jam. And then Matt Strahm comes in, gets 2 outs with runners on first and second. He gets Ohtani, he gets Betts, and then Teoscar homers into right center field. Man, oh man. I think the Phillies get it. I think they do. Hesitantly, I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. Not that hesitantly, honestly. I think they win it. Guys, the Phillies, let's not forget, have played the Dodgers really well this season. And they were right there. And yes, the Dodgers won. I will give the Dodgers credit. They came out on top. Their super team won game number 1. We still have to remember how good Philly is. We got to remember the guys Philly has. And even though, yes, Blake Snell's on the mound, I think the Phillies win the baseball game. Look at yesterday's example and say, okay, well, Tarek Skubal went and his team still lost. Winning back-to-back games on the road is so difficult to do. Hell, I'll use the Phillies as an example. Guys, when the Phillies went on their runs and when they were going on the road and beating the Braves, they never took both against Atlanta on the road. They split both times when they beat the Braves in back-to-back years, who won the division. And ultimately, right, the Phillies win both those series. They could never go on the road and win both those games. Where they did their most damage was in the back-to-back games at the bank. And obviously, that's going to be in play for the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine on Wednesday and Thursday. Sure. But where the Phils, or where teams do their damage, guys, the Dodgers went into Philly, take one game, it's a success. Same thing with the Tigers, take one game, another one's an added bonus. And if you get a second, we're moving on, right? The Dodgers have already accomplished getting one game. I think the Phillies get this one. Guys, the Phillies are going to be playing like their season depends on it. A prime example, look last year. Phillies lose to the Mets. Lose game 1, you blow it. You win game 2, though, to go into New York 1-1, and then ultimately, yes, you lose both the games in Queens. But it's so rare for the higher-seeded team to drop back-to-back games at home in the postseason. Hopefully, Philadelphia does not become one of those rare teams that do. But I'm going to be going with the Philadelphia Phillies to win this baseball game. I'm taking them at home at plus 115. I think it's a great time to snag plus money. They are still a very good team, and just because Snell's on the mound does not mean that the Dodgers are going to win. Expect a low-scoring affair that I believe the Phillies are going to come out of. It's going to be Philadelphia to win the game at home with Duran closing it out in the 9th. Whole new series in Los Angeles starting on Wednesday night. We move on now to our third best bet of the video. Before we get into predicting a winner between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, first we have to look at a best player prop. For the first time in the season, we are going to go with William Contreras over 1.5 total bases. William Contreras, obviously one game so far in the postseason. On Saturday against the Cubs, he goes 2 for 5 with a double and a single. I have trouble picking an individual player on the Milwaukee Brewers, obviously. I have trouble because it's not a team that is just built on superstars. Hell, it's not even built around a superstar. It's a all-around very good baseball team with a lot of very good players. If you want to say there is a superstar, I would say it's Christian Yelich. Yelich is great. Is he a superstar, though? He's not, okay? Former most valuable player, obviously, but he's not an all-around superstar. There's just a lot of very good players on this team. And there's not one guy I can really point at and say, okay, this was the guy who sparked the big run. I mean, I guess it's Churio, with the double to kick off the inning. But then it's Bryce Turang with an RBI double. Then it's William Contreras with another RBI double. I mean, all these guys, everyone got on the board in the first inning. Again, Milwaukee scores 6 in the first against the Cubs after giving up a home run to Michael Busch in the first inning. Ultimately, right, Brewers win the game 9-3. Matt Boyd gets absolutely decimated on the road at American Family Field. I believe that William Contreras is going to do a lot of damage again today. Pitching matchup, and again, we're going to go over a winner in a second, Shota Imanaga versus Aaron Ashby. Now, we'll get to the Brewers' strategy and the fact that they're going pretty much pen game. We'll talk about that in a second. For Shota Imanaga, this is a lefty, obviously, who pitched out of the bullpen in game number 2 of the wild card round. Pitched all right, but didn't pitch great against the Padres, a team that struggled to hit all season long. Shota goes 4 innings, 3 hits, and 2 runs and gives up a home run to Manny Machado. I'm not telling you again Contreras is going to hit that home run, but at the same time, I might. I might be saying that. I mean, I look at what Contreras can offer, obviously. Big power from the right side of the plate, 17 home runs, but it's not just the power. It's the gap-to-gap presence that Contreras can have, and it's just the ability to get on base. I think Contreras has multiple hits in this game. If not, I think it's a double. Potentially a home run. Again, only 17 in the regular season for Contreras, but this is a guy who should be able to do a lot of damage against Shota, who not over the moon about right now. I'm not. I think Shota's good. He has not pitched that well recently. And that's kind of what we thought going into obviously we still pick the Cubs every game, but just because of the Padres' inability to hit the baseball, but detailing what happened in September with Shota, 6.51 ERA for the Cubs. Comes back in the playoffs in October, right? Gives up 2 runs in 4 innings, which again is not horrible, but then you consider the team he was facing and how the Padres played relatively to just when Shota pitched. Oh no. Padres couldn't do anything against anybody other than Shota Imanaga. And it is hard, again, like I said earlier, it is hard to detail one specific hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers and say, okay, you're our guy today because anyone can break through. I mean, you look at even the bottom of the lineup. Blake Perkins can come through as he went 2 for 4 last game. He scored Andrew Vaughn. Anybody can come through. I'm going to take the guy obviously batting 3rd in the lineup, and that's Contreras batting behind Churio, behind Churang, and in front of Christian Yelich. I believe Contreras is able to do damage in this game. I believe he's able to find his spot against Shota Imanaga. Again, lefty-righty. I like what Contreras is able to do, and I think that is, again, partly just how bad Shota's been as of late. And I look at what Contreras did in game number 1. Well, he did all of his damage early, and by the time his 3rd at-bat rolled around, his team was up by 8 runs, which, you're trying to get a hit, obviously, every single time you come up to the plate, but it's hard to maintain that same motivation when you're staring at a scoreboard that says 9-1. So when the game mattered, Contreras hits an RBI double to take a 2-1 lead, and then he has I believe a bases empty single in the 2nd inning. I mean, what do you want of the guy? I mean, he's been very good this season. He's been a very reliable catcher in the middle of the lineup every single day for the Brewers, and I believe he's going to come through against a guy in Shota who has not been at his best of late. So give me William Contreras over 1.5 total bags, plus 100 today for the Brew Crew. Going on to a winner, obviously, a money line pick, taking the Brewers. This is the best bet of the day for me. 100% the best bet of the day. I like the Phillies a lot, and the Phillies can win today. I think they will win today. I hope they win today, honestly. Yes, my hate for the Dodgers goes beyond division rivals. I would rather the Phillies beat the Dodgers personally. Whatever about the Phillies from there. But anyways, I still cheer for Bryce, obviously. But anyways, what changes for the Cubs? You have I won't call it a bad lineup. You have a mid lineup. That's what it is. Okay. Chicago struggled greatly to score in that Padres series. They found a way to do it, scoring 6 runs in 27 innings. And then you tack on another 9 innings on top of that. I guess they didn't play full 9 in 2 of those games, but hear me out here. They scored 3 runs in game number 1 against the Brewers, one of which, again, was in the 1st inning with the Michael Busch home run. The other 2 runs were were scored in both the 6th and the 8th innings with the Ian Happ and the Nico Hoerner home runs. Score 3 runs all game long. You get completely outdueled in this game. Freddie Peralta does his thing, and I don't know. I mean, it's just I look at the Cubs lineup, and there are good hitters, but there's nothing I'm too worried about. And you can say the same thing about the Brewers, but I mean, it's just the overall Brewers lineup and their ability to just put the ball in play and just fight. It's just compared to what Chicago's got on the road, I don't love it. Just don't. I mean, yes, can Busch do damage? 100% leadoff home run in game number 1. Nico Hoerner, Kyle Tucker, Seiya, Ian Happ. There are guys, Carson Kelly, PCA. I know PCA had a big hit in game 3, but you know what I mean? Dansby, very good glove. Well, he goes 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in game number 1 of the NLDS. It's not a team that I'm too concerned about, honestly. And then pitching-wise, this is where I think they lose, right? I mean, this is the main reason why I love the Brewers today. So again, you can look at the starting pitching matchup and say, oh, Shota Imanaga versus Aaron Ashby. Ashby's just an opener. Ashby is an opener to get to Quinn Priester after. I don't mind it. Again, Ashby's been pretty good this season, 2.16 ERA. He has not given up a run in quite a bit. He gave, I believe, 3 runs in the whole month of September. His last 8 outings, 0 runs scored for Ashby, and he goes anywhere from 1 to 3 innings. I would not expect more than 2 innings out of him to open up this game number 2, but I'm okay with this. And he passes the ball, obviously, to Quinn, who's got a 3.32 ERA in the regular season, too. That he's been an all-around very good pitcher this year for the Milwaukee Brewers, right? Former Red Sox, former Pirate. He's been very good, and we went through this thing for most of the year, too, with him. Guys, the Brewers won, I believe it was 17 consecutive games with Quinn Priester on the mound. Now, that ended in his last start of the season on September 26th against the Cincinnati Reds, because the Reds just had legitimately everything going for them at the end of the season. They did all that just to walk into Los Angeles and get swept in 2 games and, just sell a bunch of big opportunities with the bases loaded. But it's okay. Guys, Priester's record, when he was the pitcher of record this year, he was 13-3. 3.32 ERA. They went 17 straight games, give or take. I believe it's 17. Regardless of, again, if he's the pitcher on record or not, the Brewers just won when he pitched. They get him run support, and he does a very fair job on the other side of the ball as well. You're hard-pressed to not pick this team. Is he No, he's not the starter, obviously, but that's okay. Ashby should be fine early in the game, too, as there are matchups that I believe that the lefty is going to see, or at least there's matchups that the Brewers like more, again, obviously, with Kyle Tucker is the big one at the top of the lineup, obviously, and also Michael Busch as well. I mean, all the Brewers are doing here is just adapting to the top of the Cubs lineup and ultimately putting Priester in a better spot. Because Ashby, I doubt they pull him after the first inning, or in the first inning, but, ultimately he's there for Michael Busch and he's there for Kyle Tucker. Maybe they go to Priester if any of these guys get on, including Honer, so that the Seiya matchup can be righty-righty. But they're ensuring that Ashby, or at least the Brewers, get 2 lefty-lefty matchups to start the game. I don't think the Cubs are going to change their lineup around. It doesn't make sense for them to do it just because of an opener. So expect, again, Ashby versus Busch, Ashby versus Tucker. That's 2 lefty-lefty spots. And then they'll just deal Nika Honer as well, who I know, again, went yard last game, but that was in the top of the 8th inning. It was pure garbage time. Chris Paul hits a big 3 to cut the lead to 30. We're going to be fine. I'm going to be going with the Milwaukee Brewers in this game, minus 125 at home against the Chicago Cubs. I have a lot of belief in what they're able to do offensively against Shota, who I don't think's been all that great. Actually, no, I know who has not been all that great. We have seen what he has done. Look at the month of September. By far the worst month he produced in 2025. Not like his one outing in the postseason went much better. Again, they used him out of the bullpen. It was kind of just an inverse of what Milwaukee, it's just a replica of what Milwaukee's doing tonight with Ashby and then Priester. That's what they did and brought in Shota in the 2nd or the 3rd. Didn't pitch all that well once he got into the game. So I'm going with Milwaukee, and I don't think Shota, again, has a good performance. So minus 125 for the Brewers. As real quickly, I'll talk about the American League games from yesterday as well. So Blue Jays go up 2-0. And the Seattle Mariners tie the series up at 1 game apiece. So, right, we went 2-2 yesterday on our bets, is what it is. And obviously, we got successfully, right, the NRFI and the under. Where we did not score was on the money lines. Yankees money line closed around minus 150, so I didn't play it. Tigers, it is what it is. That one sucks, right? But real quickly, I guess I'll finish up what I said earlier. I did mention a little bit of what the Mariners and Tigers did, obviously. It's the Mariners needed to win that game, back us up against the wall. Again, it's kind of my same belief now with the Phillies. It is just hard to go on the road and beat a team twice, and that's why I actually feel even better about the Phillies now. Tarek Skubal went on the mound for the Tigers, and they still lost. Obviously, Jorge Polanco, it's 2 solo home runs, and do the Tigers tie the game? They do. They find a way to tie it in the 8th inning after an error by Josh Naylor at first, and then obviously clutch hitting by Spencer Torkelson, who the commentators were really hating on. Oh, he just guessed, and he guessed right. Put it into right field. Was it a mistake pitch by Matt Brash? It was. Gave him a fastball and an inside fastball at that. Again, allowing him to go against the shift down the line. But it is what it is. Obviously, Tigers bring out Kyle Finnegan for the top of the 9th. Love Kyle. Have his jersey. One of my favorite outs ever. Kyle doesn't really do us a solid. Gets out number 1 and then gets Randy Rosarina, then proceeds to let Raleigh rip 110 miles an hour down the line to right field. And then Julio Rodriguez obviously cleans it up. 1 down the line to left field. Very hard hit ball. Finnegan gets out of a little bit of a jam to keep the lead at 1. Obviously, they brought someone else. They brought, oh goodness, who they bring for Finnegan? Finnegan gets 1 out, so he didn't really get out of the jam himself, or gets another out, so he got 2 outs in total. They brought in Herder to clean it up for Kyle, and he did. But obviously, Tigers can't do anything against Andres Munoz in the top of the 9th. I think the Mariners probably still win the series in 4 now. Well, now I believe they win in 4. I originally had Tigers in 5 going into yesterday because I thought they were going to win the 2 games that Screwball was going to pitch. The Mariners have a chance now to ensure that Screwball stays out of this series, and they get a lot more favorable matchups now going forward. You're going to see Jack Flaherty in game number 3, which I think is great for Seattle. Game 4, Casey Mize, right? Those are 2 guys the Mariners should be able to go on the road and beat. So I think Seattle takes it in 4. The Yankees, man. Oh, man. Now, there was a lot of runs scored yesterday, obviously, with the final score being what it was, or it looks like a football score, 13-7. Crazy. What, the Argonauts beat the Jets 13-7? You know what, the Toronto Argonauts, I think they're in Toronto, could probably beat the Jets 13-7 too right now. Anyways, great game out of Toronto. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. Vladimir Guerrero gets his signature postseason moment. Grand slam, crowd goes crazy. Nothing's ever going to replace and beat the Jose Bautista slam, but, I mean, that's pretty close to it, man. It is. And Trey Savage. Wow. Nats could have had him, by the way, but it's okay. Trey Savage, 5 1/3 innings, 1 walk, 0 hits, 11 strikeouts for a 22-year-old making his 4th ever career start in the bigs. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, the bullpen gave up runs after, but that didn't matter because final score, or the final outcome, was already determined. Blue Jays win 13-7. Max Fried did not pitch well. Again, everyone teed off on Fried. It kind of felt like what the Brewers were doing to Matt Boyd, to a sense, honestly, in game 1 over in Milwaukee. So Blue Jays are up 2-0 and now backs up against the wall again for New York. Found themselves in elimination spots in the wild card round against the Boston Red Sox. They now got to win 3 in a row now, though, instead of winning 2 against the Red Sox. And oh, by the way, you're going to have to win 1 on the road. I think they probably will win Game 3. I think they will. Carlos Rodon going, Shane Bieber. And I think they might win Game 4 too. Schurter versus Max Scherzer. The problem's Game 5. Can they go back into Toronto, a place that's been a house of horrors for them all year long? And it's probably going to be Gausman and Fried, probably. But Fried obviously was not very good in game number 2. I believe now Blue Jays in 5. I had Yankees in 4 originally. I'm now going Jays in 5. I think, again, that's just how the series aligns. Okay, well, Blue Jays stole one I didn't think they were going to get. Didn't steal one, but they took a game that I didn't expect them to win. Now, again, I have to change how I think of it from here on out. I think the Jays get it now. I think the Jays get it in 5. Again, because originally I had Yankees in 4, and I still think the Yankees win both games 3 and 4. But I think now Toronto comes back at home in Game 5 and they get it. So I think the Blue Jays now, to me, are the favorites to win the series. Well, ultimately, definitely, obviously, favorites to win the series. To me now, I believe we're going to get Blue Jays and Mariners in the ALCS. National League, for now, I still believe we're going to get Brewers and Phillies, but that might change after tonight. So we will see. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously, for the 2 American League games. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily MLB Best Bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.